Good day, Philippines! We are here now live at Mabotandag City. One of the trending issues today is the comparison of ABS-CBN and GMA Network's financial statements.
Are you familiar with the two giant companies under media and entertainment industry in the Philippines? Only two companies control much of the Philippine media landscape, which means most Filipinos get their news and information from just these two. They are media conglomerates, ABS-CBN Corporation and GMA Network Incorporated, which based on audience share, reach, and advertising revenue are the Philippines' most dominant media companies. GMA Network Incorporated is the Philippines' leading broadcasting company, which produces the most innovative, most trusted, and top-rating TV programs. Also known as the Kapuso Network, GMA brings for your entertainment and responsible, unbiased, and timely delivery of comprehensive and accurate news and information to Filipinos anywhere in the world.
On the other hand, ABS-CBN, considered as one of the country's leading media and entertainment company under the same industry with GMA, with service offering across the different platform media. It's important that have to understand that a single radio from just one company can give us idea of a company's current performance and potential for future financial success. The following process will under to effectively analyze financial information from GMA and ABS-CBN.
First, let us now begin with the liquidity ratios of both companies, which is GMA7 and the ABS-CBN. Other similar liquidity ratios can supplement a current ratio analysis. In each case, the difference in these measures can help an investor understand the current assets and liabilities from different angles, as well as how these accounts are changing over time. Calculating current ratio is very straightforward. Simply divide the company's current assets by its current liabilities. So let us take our two companies, the GMA7 and ABS-CBN, as to their total current assets and liabilities indicated from their consolidated statements of financial position as to September 30, 2022. As a result, GMA7 got 2.77:1 current asset ratio, while ABS-CBN got 0.82 current asset ratio. There are two things should be apparent in the trend of GMA7 and ABS-CBN. First, ABS got less than 1 result of current ratio, which means further investigation is prudent. Perhaps it is taking too much debt for its cash balance is being depleted, either of solvency issue if it is worsened. The result from GMA7 is positive, which could indicate better collection, faster inventory turnover, or that the company has been able to pay down debt. Moreover, by comparing the two companies with regard to their current ratio results, we can therefore conclude that the GMA has enough or sufficient financial resources to remain solvent in the short term. In contrast, ABS-CBN does have insufficient capital on hand to meet its short-term obligation if they were all due at once. It may seem alarming, right? But although different situation can negatively affect the current ratio in a solid company. In addition to that, GMA got a 2.77 current asset ratio result, which it indicates that it can cover its current liabilities 2 times. It also may indicate that it is not using its current assets efficiently, securing financing very well, or properly managing its working capital. This suggests that both companies should operate efficiently. They exert even more effort in improving their current ratio by making sure that their current asset is greater than their current liability, because it could indicate an opportunity to invest in an undervalued stock amid a turnaround.
Good
day everyone, I am Laika Grace Tipo Lancas and welcome to today's news report. In this segment, we will be comparing the asset utilization of two major media networks in the Philippines, ABS-CBN Corporation and GMA Network. As we all know, these two media giants have been in the industry for decades, providing quality entertainment and news to millions of Filipinos worldwide. But aside from their success in the industry, we will take a closer look at how they used their assets efficiently to maintain their position in the market. ABS-CBN Corporation's financial reports indicate that its accounts receivable turnover is at a negative rate of negative 0.51, while GMA Network's accounts receivable turnover is at 0.50. This indicates that GMA Network has a more efficient system for collecting its outstanding debts than ABS-CBN Corporation. Additionally, ABS-CBN Corporation's average collection period is at a negative 715.68 days, while GMA Network's average collection period is at 2,537.30 days. While GMA Network's average collection period is also not ideal, it is significantly higher than ABS-CBN Corporation's. This means that GMA Network takes a longer time to collect its outstanding debts than ABS-CBN Corporation. Here is another update about the inventory turnover ratio of both companies live from Mabua, Tandag City. Ms. Salas, are there any updates yet?
What a bright morning, Ms. Polancos. And yes, I have here the latest financial reports of both companies. According to the reports, ABS-CBN Corporation's inventory turnover ratio for the current year stands at 0.35, while GMA Network's ratio is at 1.92 or 2. So what do these numbers mean, and how do they compare to each other? In the case of ABS-CBN Corporation, its inventory turnover ratio of 0.35 means that the company is taking 1,042 and 86 days to sell and replace its inventory. This suggests that ABS-CBN may be holding onto its inventory for too long, which could lead to higher storage costs and the risk of stock becoming obsolete. On the other hand, GMA Network's inventory turnover ratio of 1.92 indicates that the company is selling and replacing its inventory much more quickly, taking approximately 183 days to do so. This suggests that GMA Network is managing its inventory more efficiently and may be better positioned to respond to changes in consumer demand. Here is another update for the PPE fixed asset turnover ratio of both companies from Mr. Roderos, live from Rosario, Tandag City. Mr. Roderos, what is the current status of their PPE fixed asset ratio?
Morning, Ms. Salas. According to the financial statements, ABS-CBN Corporation reported a PPE or fixed asset turnover ratio of 0.1:1, which means that for every PPE or fixed asset the company owns, it generates 0.1 times the amount of revenue. GMA Network, on the other hand, reported a much higher ratio of 1.74:1. This indicates that GMA Networks generates 1.74 times the amount of revenue for every PPE or fixed asset it owns. The comparison between ABS-CBN Corporation and GMA Network's PPE or fixed asset turnover ratio shows that GMA Network is more efficient in generating revenue from its fixed assets compared to ABS-CBN Corporation. There is also an update about the total assets turnover of both companies. According to the latest financial reports, ABS-CBN Corporation has a total asset turnover ratio of 0.05:1 or 5%. This means that for every peso worth of assets the company owns, it generates 5 centavos in revenue. Meanwhile, GMA Network has a higher total asset turnover ratio of 0.22:1 or 22%. This means that for every peso worth of assets the company owns, it generates 22 centavos in revenue. Looking at the numbers, it appears that GMA Network is utilizing its assets more effectively than ABS-CBN Corporation, generating more revenue per peso invested.
I am Precious Simasio. The recommendation and conclusion by comparing GMA and ABS-CBN in their efficiency in utilizing and managing their assets. Based on the activity ratio of both companies, GMA and ABS-CBN have their strengths and weaknesses in utilizing and managing their resources. GMA has shown efficiency in cost-cutting measures such as reducing employee benefits and outsourcing production. However, this has also resulted in decrease in the quality of their content. On the other hand, it is evident that ABS-CBN Corporation is facing more significant challenges in managing its activity ratio. It is possible that the shutdown of ABS-CBN Corporation in 2020 due to the non-renewal of its franchise by the Philippine government may have had an impact on its asset utilization ratio. In terms of recommendation, both networks can learn from each other's strategies. GMA can benefit from investing more in talent development programs to improve the quality of the content. Meanwhile, ABS-CBN can explore cost-cutting measures without sacrificing the quality of their production. In overall, it is important for both networks to strike a balance between efficiency and quality to remain competitive in the industry.
Good day, I'm Felicia Nolona and welcome for today's news report. In this segment, we'll be comparing the leverage ratios such as debt ratio, debt to equity ratio, and time interest earned ratio of ABS-CBN Corporation and GMA Network. So, according to the financial statement, ABS-CBN Corporation reported a debt ratio of 0.77p1 or 77%, which means that for every asset of the company, 77% was borrowed or was provided by the creditors. So, GMA Networks, on the other hand, reported a lower ratio of 0.46p1 or 46%. This indicates that GMA Networks borrowed 46% of assets provided by the creditors. So, the comparison between ABS-CBN Corporation and GMA Networks debt ratio shows that ABS-CBN Corporation has more debt than asset compared to GMA because the lower the percentage, much better. So there is also an update about the debt equity ratio of both companies. So according to the latest financial reports, ABS-CBN Corporation has a total debt equity of 1.38p1 or 138%. It represents a high risk in the firm's capital structure. Meanwhile, GMA Network has a lower total debt to equity ratio of 0.84p1 or 84%. This means that the assets are financed mainly through equity. Here is another update about time interest earned ratio of both companies live in the past. Mr. Colio, are there any updates yet?
Thank you, Ms. Minji. Yes, I have here the latest financial reports of both companies. The time interest rate of ABS-CBN is 1.6 times as of 2022, and this result indicates the ability of the firm that they cannot pay fixed interest charges. So while in the GMA is 371.62 times, which indicates the ability of the firm to pay fixed interest charges.
Good morning, everyone. Today's report, I will be comparing a profitability ratio result among the two companies named EVAs and GMA. So first, we have to use a formula. A gross profit margin is equals to gross profit divided to their net revenue. So first, we have a GMA. A GMA, a gross profit have a 12,43,227,153 divided to the net revenue of 16,751,246,056 is equals to 72% gross profit margin of the GMA. And ABS-CBN is, according to my research, they have a gross profit of 694 million divided to the net revenue of 4,884 million is equals to 14.20% have a gross profit margin of the GMA. So therefore, GMAs have a high gross profit margin than ABS-CBN, and it was a positive and negative result between the two of them. Mardy Samelo, a news reporter.
Good day, I'm Diana C. Montero. So for the continuation of the presentation of profitability ratio of both companies, there is another update about the net profit margin of ABS-CBN and GMA. So based on the report, the ABS-CBN have the net profit margin of 13.7%, while the GMA is 31%, which I can conclude that the GMA had the highest profit than the ABS-CBN.
Good day. Managing debt and the probability of GMA and ABS-CBN should prioritize paying off high-interest debt first, as they can save the company money's interest payment in the long run. If GMA and ABS-CBN is struggling to make debt payment, it may be able to negotiate with the creditor to come up with a more manageable prepayment plan. ABS-CBN and GMA should avoid taking on additional debt unless it's absolutely necessary interest payment and make it harder to pay excess debt. ABS-CBN and GMA can improve efficiency by streamlining its workflow, adapting new technology, or restructuring its organization is very alien with its scope.
The media industry is beneficial to invest in because it is a mature stage. There is a persistent demand for information which requires continuity for the sectors and its participants. While doing so, there is a room for expansion as the number of platforms available grows. So expectation for companies' performance in the future were based on both present performance and past survey results. Finally, a more thorough analysis of GMA and ABS-CBN give investors a comprehensive picture of the business' current state, pricing policy, and financial performance.